Parallel universes and alternate realities. How would you know if you're living in one or not? We're going to be talking about this today on our live Zoom chat being simulcasted on YouTube as well. So namaste, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be across the planet, around the world. My name is Greg Prescott from in5d.com. Today we're going to be talking about parallel universes and alternate realities, or parallel realities and alternate universes. It's going to be a fun conversation. Today was a day that was basically another day out of time. We'll put it that way. I basically did very little. I did get new t-shirts though. So 2XLs, I'll be making more 2XLs. I've ran really low on them, sold a lot of them in the last week or so. So I did get more of those. I will be making more 2XL tie-dyes coming up. But yeah, I was learning some new songs yesterday and today. So that was part of what I was doing. So getting creative with the guitar. One was, hang on. I don't know if you can hear it. One was a song by White Lion, Wait. And the other song was a Beatles song, Something. Anyway, so on and so forth. I'm not going to play them. That's all I'm going to play right now. Maybe I'll play more later, but it'll be off camera, and it'll probably annoy the people that live above me and to the left and right of me. Anyway, yeah, so that's one of the things I did. I mailed off more t-shirts, and I learned how to play a few more songs on guitar, so that was fun. Leads and rhythms on both of those songs. Wait by White Lion and Something by the Beatles. So yeah, that's pretty exciting, I would say. That was confirmation of what I made. On New Year's Eve, I made predictions of what I think will happen in the upcoming year. And then 4 days later, Alison Coe confirmed those predictions with something that came out from one of her clients during one of her beyond quantum healing sessions. So it's great when you get those confirmations, when you put stuff out there and you get that confirmation coming back. I love hearing that. So as I mentioned, today we're going to be talking about parallel universes and alternate realities. And let's see, I have no idea where I want to start out. I've got a bunch of articles that I put aside. I think the first one I want to start out with is the Mandela Effect, because it just ties in so acutely with what's going on right now, especially with these parallel universes, alternate realities. There's an article on in5d called The Mandela Effect, Proof That Negative Timelines Are Collapsing. As always, I'll leave links in the more info section and in the article on in5d. Now, the Mandela Effect is a theory originated by writer and paranormal consultant Fiona Broome that states false memories are, in fact, glimpses into parallel worlds with different timelines. The one that we're all familiar with, the main one, is the Berenstain Bears. We've all heard that one. Sex in the City versus Sex and the City is another one. But the Mandela Effect was named as such by Fiona Broome because it is the common belief that Nelson Mandela died in the late 1900s, but officially died on December 5th, 2013. The discrepancy caused people to question whether we are on a different timeline or are living in a parallel universe. Terence McKenna talked about this in his time wave zero theory, where he proposed that time is spiraling towards the singularity where all possibilities become condensed into one reality. McKenna noted that these changes in time mirrors current events with past events in a cyclic manner that repeat over and over again, but each time on a shorter cycle until the singularity is met. Spirals into that singularity. Bam. Many people have reported glitches in time where time is uncountable in large chunks. For example, they may be doing a particular daily routine for many years, but time may have drastically shifted on one particular day in such a manner that it was inconceivable. And a simple example of this would be that, we'll say, for example, you always put your car keys on a table right inside the front door or on a key rack or something. The next day you go to look for them, they're nowhere near where you always put them. And you know that you put them there every time. So glitches in time. All of a sudden they're somewhere where you would never have put them. Another factor might be, with the time speeding up, many people have experienced that feeling time is speeding up. In an article I wrote on N5D called Time is Speeding Up, Phenomenon is Preparing You for 5D, Ian Lungold stated that time was speeding up because creation was speeding up. In other words, more was happening in less time. When more and more is possible to happen in every moment, according to Lungold, there's more possible outcomes, which opens the door to things called miracles. This all ties in with the law of attraction as well, and we'll bring that all around full circle in the spiral coming up. When did this happen? The Mandela Effect we're talking about. When did we go from Home Depot to the Home Depot? Do you guys remember? So we're talking about Terence McKenna and as well as Ian Lungold, how he was stating that when we finally hit that point in singularity, when everything can happen at one time, it opens the door for things called miracles. So what we're doing is we're basically spiraling towards that singularity right now. And is it possible, though, that we're drawing from parallel universes? What we've seen through the Mandela Effect is these bifurcation of timelines. We're seeing timelines merging together where many of us know darn well that certain things that we used to believe were the truth back then are no longer the truth right now, or they've changed into something completely different from what we remember. That's proof that these timelines have changed. Is it possible that we were all, as a collective, moved into a positive timeline where these examples happen, where all of a sudden it's now the Home Depot instead of Home Depot? Very small change happens, but it happened literally in that blink of an eye. Somewhere, somehow, we moved into these parallel universes together as a collective. So it makes you wonder too, what if you had lost, loved ones, family, friends? I lost a sister back in 2011 in a parallel lifetime. She's alive. She's still alive. Of course, then again, in a parallel lifetime, the car accident I got into, the stage 3 cancer I had, the heart attack I had, in parallel lives, I'm probably not here. So it just makes you wonder. And it's like Dolores Cannon says, it bends your mind like a pretzel when you think a lot about it. Quick shout out to everyone that's joined us in YouTube land. Hopefully we don't have that echo anymore. Thanks for the heads up from everybody, both here on Zoom and in YouTube. Just a quick shout out to everyone in there. I can't cover everyone because I'm so far behind at this point, but I'm very grateful that you all have joined me right here, right now. When I was younger, during my second marriage, I'm not going to say when I was a kid, it wasn't that long ago, and it would require me by contract to say it in my special voice. So it wasn't that long ago. But when I was younger, in my second marriage, I had sleep apnea. I had gained a little weight. And when I was sleeping, you could hear, I'd be like snoring, but I'd be choking on my snore. So my ex-wife noticed that, and I arranged to have a sleep study done. And what they do in a sleep study is they hook you up with all these electrodes all over your body. It's not the most comfortable way to sleep, but at least it analyzes what you're doing when you're sleeping. So I really didn't find out why I had sleep apnea, but what I did find out was that I had a rare sleep anomaly. And as soon as I go to sleep, I instantly go into the dream stage and I stay there all night. I get zero of the deep sleep that you get after the dream stage. I don't get any of that. I've used this as an example too. Have you ever caught yourself just nodding off, like, and your head bounce? Maybe your chin might hit your chest and your head bounces back up again. I could have a dream that feels like it's like 3 hours long in that time period. To me, that shows me that this time period is not real. Or at least when you dream, you go outside of time where it's more real than anything else. And maybe that's why it seems like our dreams are more real than reality itself. It's fun to think about it though, isn't it? Did you ever notice that in your dreams you don't wear a watch, you're not looking at the time, you have no idea what day of the week it is? Doesn't matter in your dreams because you're multidimensional at that point. Jose Arguelles went to the tomb of this Mayan leader, Lord Pakal. And the most important thing he got out of it was that, through all the scriptures and everything inside the tomb, was that what we need to do is live outside of time. And that obviously our Gregorian calendar is messed up. We should be in a calendar that's harmonious with time. A 13 moon calendar would make more sense than this Gregorian calendar that, you got 28 days, 30 days, 31 days, who knows? It doesn't matter. And even look at the months of the year, like October. Oct is like an octopus, 8 arms. Why is oct the prefix 8 prefix, the 10th month? It makes no sense. And you can look at November, December, like DEC, decade. DEC should be 10. That should be October, the 10th month. December should be October. But everything is so out of rhythm, out of natural harmony, that it was done intentionally to keep us unharmonious, out of rhythm, to put us in that state of chaos, basically. So if you want to live without time, your best thing to do is, go out in nature. Just don't get lost literally in the woods, but get lost in the woods. Just go out and have fun. I don't care if it's snowing out or if it's lightly raining, as long as it's not lightning out. Just go out in nature, anywhere, wherever you find that peace. And number 2, don't wear a watch. I stopped wearing a watch over half of my life ago. God, it was probably in my 20s, early 20s, the last time I wore a watch. I really, I don't care about what time it is. And, I know a lot of people have to live by schedules and time, work weeks, weekend. We get weakened by the weekend, and TV schedules are all in these little blocks, blocks of time. It's so easy to get caught up in time, but I find that it's best to live without time as much as possible. So just putting it out there, is it possible that our dreams are parallel universes or alternate realities? In my opinion, yeah. Now, speaking of Parallel universes, according to Dolores Cannon, every decision you make creates a parallel reality. For example, if you decided to wear white socks instead of yellow socks, or no socks at all, every decision you make creates a parallel reality. In other words, in a parallel reality, you choose to wear yellow socks. In a different parallel universe, you choose to wear no socks at all. Every possible option is played out in parallel realities. And the option that we're all experiencing is only one version of this. So right now we're in this parallel reality that we're all co-creating, um, and have been placed on through the Mandela effect and through the bifurcation of timelines that put us all right here, right now. So your thoughts and intentions play major roles in what comes into your reality and thus what will affect subsequent timelines. If you're predominantly thinking about bills, then bills are what you'll be attracting. Thoughts are manifesting quicker right now than ever before as the global awakening continues. We will continue to see a number of whistleblowers bringing out the truth despite those in power trying to suppress it. This has a lot to do with Pluto and Capricorn uh, coming in 2008, staying there until 2023. So we're way over the apex, the center point of Pluto and Capricorn. We're nearing the end line, and which is one of the reasons why I made that prediction about by the end of this year. It's going to be unrecognizable compared to what we had at the beginning of the year. So hang on tight, put your seat belts on. Here we go. As the critical mass grows, the timeline that we experience changes towards something more positive. A great example would be how George W. Bush tried to push for the North American Union and switch over to the Amero as the currency. We all remember that back in the early 2000s, right? Yet this never came to fruition. The same can be said for the New World Order. That's not going to happen either. The next time you see a timeline come and go, understand that there are variables that affect what any given event did or did not occur. Know that the timeline has switched over to something positive. Try to keep your thoughts and intentions positive as well. By doing so, everyone's timeline will rapidly change into something that benefits all of humanity. There's another comment that Galactic Fire. Am I tripping? Is your voice deeper today? That's weird. I don't feel like I'm sick. I don't feel like my voice is any deeper or that's funny though. Numerous people have commented on that. Yeah, I'm going through puberty apparently. I'm like Peter Brady when his voice was cracking. That's funny though. So you guys know I'm a triple Libra. We are probably, don't ask a triple Libra to make up his or her mind about anything. don't give us decisions. We're terrible. We don't like making them. What do you want for dinner tonight? This or that? I don't know. They both sound good. You know, that they both sound good is probably the best answer. So what movie would you want to go see tonight? I don't know. What do you want to see? we're just horrible at that. We're not good at making decisions. And it's not that we're not good at making them. It's just like what like what Dolores Cannon said, every decision you make affects every timeline and alternate timelines. And we're just weighing out how is this going to affect every timeline possible. It gets a lot deeper than we just don't know how to make up our minds. I have an article on In5D called Having Trouble Making Decisions. This might be why. So part of the reason why some people have trouble making decisions is what they're eating. Could be GMOs, could be fluoride in the water, certain little things like that could interfere with your decision-making process. I get it. But parallel universes are affected by your decisions. Perhaps some people have difficulty deciding which shirt to wear on any given day. Every decision we make affects this reality along with everything that happens in parallel universes. For example, you decide to wear a blue shirt today instead of a white one. Then in a parallel universe, you wore the white one. Additionally, in other parallel universes, you wore every other possibility of every shirt that's in your closet or dresser, including the option of not wearing one at all, which is most likely that's what I would do. Probably no shirt at all. Even the color of the shirt that you chose will send out a particular vibration. Keep that in mind. I know that it was very chic. A lot of the ladies back in the 80s and 90s would wear black. Think about the vibration you're putting out there. This is blue. This is very good. It's the throat chakra, which is interesting because everyone's saying my throat is sounds like I'm talking deeper, but yeah, think about that. What color shirt are you wearing right now? What does that say about the vibration that you're holding? And it's not a bad thing, no matter what color you're wearing. You might be wearing black for a grounding. That's more of a grounding color, like obsidian. So it's not a bad thing if you're constantly grounding. Like wearing red, the root chakra. That's another good thing too. If you want a grounding colored shirt, maybe even something brown or neutral, tan, ecru or something, for grounding. We've all been approached by someone who commented on our clothing. Perhaps if you chose to wear a green shirt instead of a black one, you would meet someone who would be profoundly changed by your life's decisions that day. Who knows what they might think, how you might influence somebody else by wearing a certain color shirt, whatever color shirt that you're wearing. These are the type of things that some people do subconsciously and think about when making a decision. So why is it so difficult for us to make that decision? Every decision can literally change this present reality. This has been proven through group meditation. In 1978, what is known as the Maharishi Effect, that took place when a group of 7,000 individuals over the course of 3 weeks were meditating in hopes of positively affecting the surrounding city. They were able to literally transform the collective energy of the city, which reduced global crime rates, violence, and casualties during the times of their meditation on an average of 16%. Suicide rates and automobile accidents were also reduced, with all variables accounted for. In fact, there was a 72% reduction in terrorist activity during the times at which this group was meditating. So, and then we can think about timeline jumping. I'm not sure if any of you have done that, or I imagine many of you probably have. I think a lot of times we even do that in our dreams. But is it possible that some people who have difficulties making decisions are timeline jumpers? While they may not specifically remember why they jumped through time, they are cognizant of the repercussions of every decision they make in present time and how each decision affects reality every millisecond of the day. Timeline jumping may seem a little woo-woo for some people, but remember that when we dream, we leave all constructs of time as we know it in a third dimensional reality. When we dream and enter the astral plane, we may sometimes see future events that have not yet occurred. While we may not remember these dreams, our subconscious mind does. Depending on the scenario of any given dream, we may do conscious decisions that normally would be easy to make, but subconsciously we know that whatever decisions we make may affect the outcome of every potential timeline. Another timeline scenario involves the decision not being relative to the outcome. In other words, it really doesn't matter because the result will still be the same. In these types of scenarios, the typical answer would be, I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. Or what do you think? And that would typically be my response in a lot of situations where it's really not going to affect the outcome either way. It doesn't matter to me. I don't care. What do you think? Those are either one. But, if you are, one of those people like me that has, that will not make up their mind over many things specifically, there's a reason. You're probably weighing out what's going on parallel universes, in alternate realities, and then on a larger scale, trying to deduce what is the best decision to make that's going to create the most positive change and the least amount of disruption. So when you do make a decision, sometimes it takes people a few seconds to make a decision. While they are doing this, they are weighing out the options with all possible and future outcomes, as I just mentioned. Other times, people can immediately answer a simple question with a quick and firm response of conviction. I can do that too if I really, really know what the answer will be. If I'm really, really confident in that answer being 100% correct in humanity's best interest. This can be construed as their definitive truth, at least for that particular point in time and space. So, got another article here that I wanted to cover, and then I'll open up the chat room. This one talks about changing timelines through the law of attraction. Okay, and this is an article called How to Change Timelines Right Now Through the Ripple Effect. The law of attraction works in a similar way. The law of attraction will bring you whatever is predominantly on your mind. What if you were able to change future events right now by simply thinking positive thoughts and affirmations? Even the simplest things make a difference, such as letting a car into heavy traffic or opening the door for someone. When I'm at the beach, I always try to take a walk of gratitude where I thank Creator, Universe, spirit guides, guardian angels, friends and family on both sides of the veil, galactic neighbors and friends, higher self, and Mother Earth. I express love and gratitude to all, and add that I will continue to listen and be guided with an open mind, ears, and heart. I also ask for protection and safety in all areas of life. I never ask for anything materialistic because materialism is what divides us as people. When walking to my particular spot where I express my gratitude, I envision a bubble of love, a love bubble. And I have an article about that too, that encompasses everything and everyone around me. Sometimes I'll smile and say good morning to people who I make eye contact with, but inside I'm saying, I love you. So try doing that when you're maybe at the mall or something. Just smile, not at people, but send out that energy. I love you. I love you. Okay. Costs you nothing. So what you put out there comes back to you, and it affects the universe as a whole. Many of us, as I mentioned, have a difficult time making up our minds because we're looking at those greater, how does this affect everything on a greater magnitude? And I'm going to put it out there right now for everyone. I'm going to unmute everyone here in the chat room. And you guys are all live right now. And here's the link on YouTube if you want to join in. Our topic is parallel universes, alternate realities. Have you ever had any experiences with Mandela effects? Being here and all of a sudden you're there somewhere else. Jump on in. So jump around.
So I've had something happen to me.
Tell us.
Well, I smoke a lot of cannabis in my life, right? I mean, who hasn't, I guess. Anyway, long story short, my stepson went to get some. He came back with, I don't know what it was. It looked like tea leaves, right? I mean, it looked like tea leaves. And I'm like, just to be safe, let me try this first, because if this isn't cannabis, then you don't need to try this. So I put very little, too little, not even enough to make an effect, not even enough to make smoke, and hit it through a bong. And I instantly knew I was tripping. I mean, as soon as I put fire to it, I was tripping my face off. I looked at him and I was like, dude, do not try this. And I was so gone for, I don't know how long it was, but time unzipped like 4 times. Literally unzipped and zipped back up 4 times while I was wherever I was at. and I was completely incapacitated. Like they couldn't get me up off the floor or nothing. And then all of a sudden, I was okay. My sugar was a little messed up. I drank some orange juice with some sugar in it, and I was fine.
Sounds like it was laced with something.
It had, I don't know what it was, but it was definitely not, I mean, it wasn't cannabis. And I told him, I was like, dude, I don't know what this is, but take this back to them people and tell them that you don't want it. They were laughing like it was all funny. You know, it was some great big joke. They, you know, they knew what it was.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't tell him what it was, and I don't know what it was. I don't ever want to know what it was because it was messed up. But
That's enough to make you quit.
oh, I couldn't even, dude, for like months, I couldn't go certain places because of the watchers who watched the timelines, and I knew I was being watched.
How long did that last?
Man, a couple months.
No, the trip.
Oh, like 15 or 20 minutes, maybe a half an hour.
Okay, because what they're saying on YouTube, and I agree with them, it sounds like salvia.
Oh, it could have been. Yeah, it very well could have been.
Yeah, that's probably what it was. I have done that here in Florida when it was legal. I loved it. Absolutely. It brought me to a place where it felt like home. It was, for me, it only lasted like 10 or 15 minutes. But it was fantastic.
Here's the thing. If I'd have known what was going to happen, if I had been told, hey, this is Sylvia and you're probably going to trip when you hit this, I'd have been like, oh, okay, well, I can make a decision whether or not I want to do this. Mm-hmm. I wasn't given the opportunity to make a decision whether or not. I just was like, well, they're saying it's cannabis. I know it's not. I mean, it wasn't. I knew it wasn't when I was like, I know this isn't. So whatever this is, let me try it first, you know, being the adult.
Yeah.
And dude, I mean, I sat down on, I was in a bathroom and I sat down on a steel steam radiator, and I melted through the radiator, through the floor, like, and that's when time started to unzip, or reality unzipped, and then zipped back up, and then unzipped and zipped back up. And I was, holy crap. It was just,
wow. A quick shout out real quick to Phil Christopher. Thank you for the super chat. Phil was saying that he took an ayahuasca journey that brought him to a different place, which would be, within the join us. Tell us about that in here, Phil. I know you've been here before in the Zoom chat. Tell us about that. But yeah, I've done the salvia. I actually love it. I did it though with a friend one time. And she had never done it before. And I thought I was giving her the least amount. I had some mellow stuff that was like 20 times and some heavier stuff that was like 80 times. That's how they sell the salvia. It goes up to like 100, 160 times. But like the mellow stuff I would use just to meditate with. And I thought, okay, I'll let her try it and she can start out on the mellow one. Well, I didn't know which one was which, honestly. And I gave her the other one for her first time. And I laugh about it now, but it was horrifying for her. But I didn't see it that way because, for example, she took a huge hit off of it. And the next thing I know, she's going like this. I don't know what she was fending off or whatever, but to me, because I was also doing it, looked like she was swimming. And I just started cracking up. It was funny as hell. And then she kind of like fell forward, and I couldn't do anything but laugh. I was just, it was just way too surreal. And then afterwards, I didn't realize she was having a bad trip, and she was probably like fending off something or somebody. And I'm laughing at her. It was horrible to laugh at her for that. But what I found is that ultimately stuff like that is what magnifies your psyche. If you're doing your work and everything's clean and clear, you'll probably have a great trip. If there's still work to do, I would not recommend tripping on anything. But in your case, you were unprepared. Most of the time you have an idea. Okay, today's the day I'm going to do X, Y, or Z. And without knowing that would suck.
Yeah, no, if I'd have known what I was getting into, I could have made a decision,
Sure.
whether or not I wanted to do it. You know, I
Mhm.
thought it was going to be cannabis related, and it was nothing like it. I mean, I knew I had taken mushrooms before. I had taken really good acid before. I mean, I've, you know, window panes,
Sure.
gel tats, you name it.
Me too.
But I was like, when I hit that, I was like, holy, it was instant. And I was like, oh, fun is
Yeah,
gonna
one time
happen.
I was doing mushrooms, and I thought, what would it be like to do a little salvia on top of this? And I did, and it was great.
Wow.
Yep. So I see Phil's here. I want to hear his ayahuasca journey here. So Phil, welcome to our chat. Trying to unmute you. There you go.
There we go.
Got it.
Technology.
Yes.
So my ayahuasca experience was when I went to Peru with Earth Keepers. And it was a shamanic, we had about 130 people. And, you know, there's the purging part of it, and that was pretty awful.
Your voice sounds lower. No, I'm just kidding. Maybe it's mine.
Is that better?
No, it's fine. You're fine.
Okay. So, yeah, no, it does sound lower.
No, it doesn't. I was just joking.
Okay. So during the experience, well, first off, it just, you know, you you made a bad mistake. That you're going to be in it for a while. And I mean, the body part of it was kind of like your soul has kind of come out of sync with your body a little bit. And then the other thing that effect that I noticed about it was there was this like band of pink light, or a cloud, if you will, at I'm going to say about 4 to 5 feet high, all throughout that room that we were in. This is in a hotel down there by Lake Titicaca, I believe. And let's see some other things that about it. Oh, I remember when the shaman was starting it all off, he didn't call in protection or anything like that. So immediately, that's what I was doing mentally in my mind, is, you know, to call in the quarters. And it wasn't too long after that he actually did that, called in the energies to protect the ceremony. So that was kind of sketchy, and I kind of put me on my guard for the rest of the experience. And yeah, that lasted about 4 to 5 hours. And I remember there were people that were still retching and having problems with it, and I was feeling really sorry for him. I'm wanting to put them in a Reiki distance and healing to them, you know, so to soothe the issues that they seem to be having out there. And the forces wouldn't let me. Of course, it was really hard to even talk or do anything like that.
It's amazing you even thought about, in that condition, doing Reiki
I
on
know,
others
I'm
and
kind of
helping other
weird.
people while under ayahuasca.
Well, yeah, I mean, when you're retching on that stuff, it is just really, I mean, it's coming from your deep in your stomach, and just ripping all the way through, right? So it's hard to hear. It's hard to experience. Yeah, so I'm not going to recommend ayahuasca to anybody because you're going to go through some stuff. And the thing that actually is more afterwards where it got really weird is after I left the place where we were and went up to my room and tried to sleep. I was in a hypnagogic dream, nightmare, whatever you will. I mean, everything happened to me. I mean, I got drawn and quartered, revived. It was just endless all night long. Yeah, it was a definite different reality.
You know, a lot of people, when they do that, they say that they meet their spirit guide. Were you able to do that?
Well, no, actually, I haven't. The thing that I went into the ayahuasca ceremony to do was to learn compassion. So that's the lesson they gave me. Yeah, big time.
Do you find that you learned compassion after that? Better? More so?
More so, yes, a lot more so. Yeah, compassion for myself, compassion for others.
Well, it sounded like, you know, with your wanting to help other people while you were under the influence of this, wanting to use Reiki, but they wouldn't allow you to do that. That's compassion right there. That's amazing that you had that foresight to want to help other people under that influence.
Well, I mean, basically what they were telling me is no, they have to go through this. And I later on I found out the reason they were still retching is because they took another dose. Like they didn't get enough of it in the first one. Wow.
You know, it's always been something I wanted to try in the past, but I don't. This year, I'm like, well, you know, if I never do it, so be it. I'm okay with that. I've already met my guide. You know, I don't need ayahuasca to do that.
I wouldn't do it unless you're called to it. That you've got something you want to work on, bring in, get to know about yourself. Yeah, I mean, it's a very transformative experience. I mean, it's going to rip your world apart and put you back together. It's a shamanic journey.
Yeah, it's something you don't do recreationally.
No, hell no. I don't understand how Graham Hancock can do that often. That's just wild to me.
Yeah, and he's not burned out at all. He's as sharp as a tack.
I know, and going.
I would probably be an invalid.
Yeah, I wasn't in too good a shape the next day. No, in fact, I was in a heightened state, very sensitive to energies and everything for a good week after that, easily.
So it kind of lingered with you then.
Yeah, it had a lasting effect. It's still pretty rich. I mean, pretty vivid to me even today, and that's over 2 years ago.
Wow. Why do you think that a lot of this stuff is illegal here in the United States?
Well, because it makes you realize that you have far more power than you realize, and two, that you have allies, and that it isn't that they've been lying to you. Yeah, I mean, it shows you pretty quickly what the truth is, and I mean, I can tell instantly when somebody's trying to blow smoke.
It also shows you that there's so much more that we can perceive outside of our five senses.
Right. That too. Yeah. That you're more than the physical body.
Hmm. Why would they not want us to know that?
Well, that's because we become sovereign and powerful beings, co-creators of our own, and we're not going to buy their bullshit anymore.
Well, we
So,
can't have that, can we?
oh no, I mean, it cuts down on your consumerism. It cuts down on
Ego, materialism, yeah, right
ego,
down the gamut.
materialism, all of that. Yeah. So
Religion.
they don't want that. They want you neurotic, anxious, and looking to get out of your angst by buying stuff.
Well,
So,
the churches
anything
wouldn't like that either, would they?
no, I mean anything like that is, it isn't the drug they want us to be using. They want us to use coffee, which makes us really focused on doing something, right? Being really active. And the other thing they want us is alcohol, which just totally wipes out our frontal lobes, and we're not thinking at all.
It opens us to other spirits attacking us.
Right, and that too. Yeah, anything that creates fear or anxiety in us, that's what they like. That's what they want, because we're easier to control that way.
It's kind of funny though that it took how long? How many hundreds, perhaps longer, of years that to really figure this out, to see how we have been suckers for subservience, control, and conformity of everything that's been going around us. And in the past we weren't able to stand up and talk about a lot of this stuff. Some of the stuff that we talk about here would be considered heresy. A lot of it, using herbals and tinctures and stuff like that to address certain symptoms that other people might use big pharma for, stuff like that. They don't want us going down that direction, but people are finally waking up and are making conscious decisions in their own best interest, not what they're being told, and buying into the propaganda that our school systems teach us.
Yeah, right, Greg. I mean, it's but I think we've got, that's the thing, we've got the power. It's within us, and we just need to go within to discover it and start coming from that place, and do a little reality check on everything that they're telling you. And I mean everybody. The Democrats, the Republicans, the military, the scientists, the doctors, all these people, especially the pharmaceuticals, everybody's got an agenda.
What's the one thing you feel that people fear the most?
Well, I think the thing that people probably fear the most is death. But I'm here to tell you that is the last thing you want to be afraid of.
True.
It's just a change in energy, basically. Or basically, you just go back to being your true self, which is a ball of energy, a soul, if you will. So there really isn't anything to fear. But I mean, I get triggered. I still get triggered by things, and
We all do.
And I've been.
What triggers you?
Well, narrow thinking, really. Anybody that's trying to limit me or box me in, that triggers me like crazy. I don't like to be true. I don't like to be boxed in.
So controlling personalities also. You need to do this.
Yeah.
You need to.
That's pretty much a way to get me not to do it.
Yeah. Yep. Same here. I still get triggered by, slow drivers in the passing lane. Let them drive slow. That's fine. That's what the right lane's for. Don't go in the passing lane and drive slow. That triggers me because I have lead foot, and I like flying as fast as I can. That's my natural state of being. That's everyone's natural state of being. It's being able to fly without restrictions.
Right. Yeah. No, I've had some semi-flying dreams. So yeah, I got to admit that was way cool. Where I can kind of glide and I'm not going to hit the ground hard or anything like that. I never did the Superman thing in my dreams, though. Didn't do that.
Getting back to what we're just discussing before, the one thing I feel that people fear the most is themselves, ultimately.
Well, yeah. But this is okay, so this gets into thought forms and egos and all sorts of other things. So we kind of create these demons by our fear or trauma or whatever. And and then we'll repress that and push that off into our shadow, right? Because that's not me. But you can't do that. And you can't separate part of yourself or a thought form that you created. You need to have control and sovereignty over all that stuff. And you need to heal it, love it, and bring it back in and integrate it. And and you gain something from that.
Easier said than done, though, for a lot of people.
Well, I mean, yeah, what I propose is not easy. I mean, I've been at it for 30 or more years now, real earnestly. And, it's still stuff's coming up,
I was glancing over at the YouTube chat, and Lee Clarkson is saying that cars are our spaceships. Yeah, right. That's funny.
Well, I am so ready for my flying car. And
right.
There's a guy out there, Salvador Playas.
Yeah.
I talked about him before.
Mm-hmm.
I need to do a video on that guy because, I mean, we've got it. We've got the power source, the anti-grav. We all should be flying around.
Worst case scenario, we should at least, at a minimum, be using Stanley Meyer's invention of the water-powered car that he invented in the late 1980s. Over 30 years ago, we should have been driving water-powered cars for the last 30 some odd years. We don't need gas. We need a very little amount of oil just to lubricate the parts in the engines and maybe tires or something like that. But even I heard that they can make 3D tires that you'll never need another tire after that. Yeah.
I mean, electric cars, there's all sorts of ways we can get around not using. I'm not so, I mean, I agree with these climate scientists in the fact that we're not looking at the data correctly when it comes to what's causing global warming. But global warming really isn't anything to be concerned about. It is going to happen. It's just all the planets in the solar system are increasing, are getting more energy from the sun. What we need to be worried about is the pollution, the carbon monoxide, the sulfur dioxide. These things are very detrimental to our environment and therefore to us. So, yeah.
And with free energy, that could all be resolved easily.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. We've got the technology. We have the toys of a Star Trek society, and they're not sharing them with us.
How dare you? To borrow the words of Greta to the deep state. How dare you?
Well, I have to agree. How dare they?
Exactly. So I'm going to unmute everyone once again here in the chat room. If you want to jump in, you're more than welcome to. Just chatting. Marta's asking, what about the chemtrails? Throw that on the list as well.
Oh, geoengineering. God. Yeah. No, that gets back to the pollution problem. What are they throwing up there? Aluminum sulfide, boron,
Barium sulfate.
barium sulfate. Yeah, I mean, there are all sorts of stuff really bad for the environment, bad to breathe. Yeah, so the only type of geoengineering they should be doing is putting more iron oxide in the oceans to increase the algae growth, which will pull the carbon out of the water, take it down to the bottom of the ocean, and it will go back into the rock formations, and we won't see it for thousands, millions of years.
How many millions of gallons of oil are still on the bottom of the ocean from the core exit that was poured into the ocean from the BP oil spill?
Oh, yeah, that, wow. Yeah, I mean, there's a, so, and I think that kind of oil and what they put on it, because it just congeal and it goes down to the bottom of the ocean, and it really messes with the life down there, you know, especially in the Gulf. I mean, this is not, that's why they're drilling there, is because it's not so deep. And so therefore you're really messing up. I mean, basically, I think there's a big dead zone all around the mouth of the Mississippi coming out there. So even the clean water that we're putting in there isn't so loaded with fertilizers and insecticides and all that, you know, just adding to the whole mess down there. I understand
let me throw this out there to everyone. You know, with today's topic, parallel universes and alternate realities, is it possible that there's a reality or a universe out there that did not have the cabal, the deep state, that 100, 200, 300, 500 years ago was way ahead of where we are right now?
Right.
Is it possible?
I remember a movie. I think it was called The One. It was like a kung fu movie or something like that. But basically, it was this idea of the multiverse, and there was this arch villain. One of these guys who was living. I mean, so there's this one guy that's really pretty good martial artist, working as a cop. But there's one that decides he's going to go out and he kills one of the other guys in another universe, and he realizes he gained that power. So he goes around through all the multiverse trying to kill everybody else that's him, so that he'll be the one. So yeah, I could kind of see. I mean, they went through the whole thing, how that might work, and I thought it was pretty convincing, really.
Of course, that's so Hollywood with all the killing that went on.
Right, but here's the thing: is in the end, the guy in our reality, right? He's the one that beats the one, and but they're going to send him to the prison world anyway, because he's so dangerous, right? But instead, this one guy that's the time cop, he sends him to this other reality where everybody's driving electric cars, the sun's shining, his wife is still alive or his girlfriend is still alive. Yeah, everything is perfect, and that's the world he gets to go to. So that's the end of the movie. And I would
That's
say,
exactly
yeah,
what I put out there.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I was putting out there. Is that possible that exists
Yeah.
for all of us?
Yeah, I'm sorry I went so roundabout to get to that part of the story.
Maybe that's what the event is, bringing us to that timeline.
Well, indeed. I mean, this would explain the Mandela effect and all that also, because if what we have is like collapsing timelines or realities, universes, whatever, then well, the one that it's collapsing to will have more power, more closer to that light body or that enlightened consciousness of 5D, if you will.
Seems like I keep getting the feeling that we're moving out of 3D, and whatever's left behind is just, I wish you luck. I wish you well. Whoever stays behind. I'm sure there are people that want to stay behind, that are not done with experiencing 3D. I think a lot of us are done. We've had enough, right?
Right. Yeah. No, I'm hoping that I have had enough negative contrast to last me for a good long while. I kind of feel like it's we're going to move into this soon, within the next year or 2 or 3 years. I'm not sure. But I don't think it's going to be like it won't be possible for other people to move on up, especially because all the negative stuff that'll still be happening to it. You get enough negative stuff on you, pretty soon you just have to go within and figure this all out.
Do you mean negative stuff going on around you, or negative stuff coming up within your life that you need to transform and transmute and all that stuff?
Exactly. The negative stuff, well, both. I mean, if you're paying attention to the outside world, which I do a little bit, then you're internalizing it in a way. And also you have the stuff within you, or the negative stuff, through, like I said, trauma or negative programming or whatever. But actually the universe just provides us with some negative contrast just to help us to grow, right? So
Right.
I mean, you don't know what you don't like until you've seen it, right? Or experienced it.
I was wondering about the Super Bowl that's coming up. The Chiefs are playing the 49ers. What is the significance of that? So we have Chiefs and Native Americans versus people who mine for gold. So it's pretty much the Native Americans versus the Rothschilds. Is that what's going on? Is that the bigger message that we're supposed to? Why are these two teams?
You can take these symbologies and use them that way. Yeah, I mean, I would say it's the spiritual people against the money.
Go Chiefs.
Yeah,
I was just wondering.
Go Chiefs.
Yeah.
And I don't watch football anymore. Used to play it, but I don't watch it anymore.
That's the only sport I still watch, and I've mentioned this numerous times. I am a Kansas City Chief fan, and the last time they won the Super Bowl was back in number 2. I think it was 1971 against Minnesota, something like that, 70-71. So it's been a long time since they've been to. It was 1970. It's been 50 years. So yeah, a lot of rooted for them for 50 years, and they finally made it. So maybe that's a sign of the end times. I don't know.
Or I wouldn't call it the end times. I'm going to call it the dawning of a new age, right? We're going into the age of Aquarius.
Oh, definitely. The dawning of the beginning.
And, we're going to become the new race. the golden rays.
I'm down with that. The room is unmuted. If you want to join in, you're welcome to. I see some new faces here. Lilu is new here.
And we got to hear from Lilu.
Susan Mim is new. So feel free to jump in. Lilu's unmuted, and Susan doesn't have an option to unmute, which is interesting. You there, Lilu? She's being shy. Well, feel free to jump in anytime. Gary's still with us.
Yeah, I'm still here. I love listening to you. I mean, I don't, even if I don't get to tune in live and be in the chat, I go back and listen, and I try to like read through the chat that's coming up just to get the insights from the other people that are watching, because even there's so much information out there, and people are so intelligent that little comments that are made that we don't get to, like, I can't be on Zoom and YouTube at the same time because I'm trying to watch on my phone instead of my laptop.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't
I've
get
got
to
an
see
old laptop
everything as it happens, so I have to go back and watch so I can read the comments, because I'll catch things that I didn't even like. I'll go back and watch this tomorrow, or I might listen to it later tonight, and I'll be like, wow, I never heard Greg say that. When did he say that? You know, or maybe something that Christopher said, or
something that was written in the chat room.
Yeah, it could have been anything. And it's like, well, was that even there the first time? Or, where was I? Because I was, I'm paying attention, but how did I miss that? So that makes me wonder, we're constantly being back and forth between timelines, I believe. Like when I was under the influence of that salvia, I mean, I know that at least 4 times time unzipped and zipped back up. So I wasn't in the same timeline. I'm in a completely different timeline than 4 different timelines than I was, however long ago that was. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if I've ever gotten back to the proper timeline.
That's a conundrum right there within itself. Imagine that. If you, I completely get it and see that it's a possibility. You could be tripping on something, go into its different timeline, and never come back. How would you know if you came back to this timeline or not?
Exactly. How would I know? I mean, everything is still the same, but there's little things that it's like, well,
are different.
Yeah, just little things.
A little off. Yeah, like the Home Depot.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's always been Home Depot to me.
Home Depot.
Yeah. All of a sudden, it's the Home Depot. Put that "the" in front of it.
And so I'm sitting here writing in my journal, like, I'm because I know that I'm capable of anything. Like I'm capable of manifesting, great romantic relationships, the greatest romantic relationship that people have ever seen, simply because I'm not the person that I was. Even this now right here isn't the same now that just was. So I'm not the same person. I'm constantly being refreshed and renewed. Like I know that my DNA is constantly being upgraded. But there's so many millions and billions of people on this planet that don't even have a clue as to what in the world is going on.
Yeah, every cell in our body's constantly regenerating, constantly renewing itself. That includes the cells in our brains as well, neurons, and everything is constantly being regenerized, renewed. And you aren't this every 8 years, I think it takes for complete cell transformation in your entire body. But we're constantly changing. That was one of the things I feared the most when I was younger, was change. It's one of the things, honestly, that you should relish the most is change, though. Don't be afraid of it.
I think that's one of the things that I feared my entire life. My biggest fear has been change. If things change, it's not the same anymore. If this happens, then it's not, I no longer have this, or I might have to do, and I've even today, like It's the first time I've actually spent time with my mom and my aunt. They took me shopping. They just invited me to go shopping. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds like fun. And I just got to talk to them the entire, like we were together for 6 hours today. And it was just 6 hours of loving my mother and my aunt, sharing just the most amazing experience that I've had in a long time, because I just allowed myself to enjoy what was happening, not worrying about, you know, the if somebody was rude to us, or, you know, any of the small things that happened throughout the day that would normally, you know, you would react differently. We all laughed, and it was just fun to us and funny, and it wasn't, there was no negativity at all throughout the entire day, you know.
If you really want to make your mom stay, hold her hand.
I did.
Awesome.
I actually did that with my mom and my aunt. Yeah, I did. It was fun.
That's awesome. I'm glad you did that.
Yeah, I was, you know, we were in the vehicle for a while, and we were doing different things and shopping, and the entire time, you know, I was doing Reiki on my aunt. She just had surgery on her carpal tunnels on her right wrist, and she's getting ready to do it on her left. So the whole time she's, you know, her left wrist is bothering her. Her right one's healing, feeling way better, but her right hand or her left hand is bothering her. So I grab her left hand with my right hand, and I just absorb it and take it away, you know. And I walk away from her, and she'll just giggle, and she won't say anything because she doesn't believe in it, but she knows that I just did whatever. Like, she knows that the pain is gone, so she just giggles, and she's like, huh. But she won't acknowledge that anything happened, but she knows that it did.
You know, one of the things I miss about being a parent is when I just had my hand out, and her hand was like a magnet to my hand, and she would hold my hand. Now she's 25. She doesn't hold my hand anymore. And it saddens me. And I understand, you know, I remember being in my 20s, and I never thought about holding my mom's hand then, although I should have. But, you know, we look at things differently as we age, and, you know, from their perspective as well. So I understand where, you know, it's not cool to be seen holding your dad's hand or whatever. But in my opinion, who cares what other people think? You know, what's cool is love, and that's all that matters.
Right. And, you know, in 25 is one of those, it's a strange age, because you're realizing that you're no longer a child, that you're not really quite equipped to be an adult yet, but you're being made to be an adult. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You're so just trying to figure it out on a second by second basis, that you're not aware of love. Like, I mean, there are, you know, don't get me wrong, there are 25-year-olds out there that are sitting in meditation for 2-3 hours a day, and, you know what I'm saying, and they're doing the hard work, but it's not everybody that's doing it, you know. And I think that those of us that are doing the hard work, that do the daily, we're the anchors, and we're here to be that upper consciousness for those that aren't prepared, that have no idea what's about to happen, so that when it does happen, we can be like, look, it's not as bad as you think it is. This is good for everyone, and this is why.
I got Scotty Boy joined us here. His hand's up. Hey, Scotty. His hand was up, but his microphone's not on. And we have another new person here, Franca Guija. Is that how I pronounce your name? Franca? Unmuted. Hi.
Look, if someone's saying, yeah, the Crenshaw's probably already compromised.
I'm not sure what's going on there. Sounds like they're listening to TV. Hey, and then we have someone here, James. James is joining us.
Nice.
Hey, James.
Nice to meet you. Hey, guys.
Hey, James.
What are your opinions on the, parallel universes? Have you
Me?
had any? Yeah.
Parallel universes, man. I think as far as like, as I can hear myself like 5 seconds ago. It's weird. Anyways, uh, hold on.
It's all good. I'm throwing the link in YouTube right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that
Go ahead.
the way society is, or the world is, the universe, there are so many different universes, parallel universes, that it's like everything that can happen will happen.
Do you think that in a parallel universe, they've already had the event?
Maybe.
Or is that something that can't happen until, or maybe they all have to happen at the same time? All the universes will go through that event at the same time, regardless of where they are in their progression. It's interesting to think about. Yeah. I've got everyone unmuted here that wants to be unmuted here, and you're welcome to join in.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to weigh in on that one, Greg.
Oh, before you do, thank you for sending out Reiki, Phil.
Oh, yeah. Right. So what I think is going to happen is going to happen in one place at one time, the now, and it will probably have a ripple throughout this universe and the other universes also. I mean, because if we do this, if we pull this little trick off where we ascend while in a physical body, that's going to be noteworthy throughout the multiverse, I'm pretty sure.
So where do you think that energy is going to come from to cause the event?
Well, it could be the galactic sheet that we go through every 26 or 25,920 years. There is some evidence that we're in that and that other stars have gone through it already. So there's that. It's going to be a big increase of energy, and we're at the proper state if we can be compassionate, loving, forgiving, you know, all those things that will be light enough that we'll be able to go through that and that flash or whatever and ascend.
See, I'm wondering if this is for all dimensions, the event, or is it just 3D?
Well, I mean, if you look at just the UFO activity, it's all been around, a lot of it, I should say, has been around nuclear power, missiles, stuff like that, nuclear detonations. So I kind of think there are some things that affect all the dimensions, and nuclear explosions are one of them.
So our visitors that we have that come here, you know, the Pleiadians, the Arcturians, the, you know, right down the line, Orions and everyone, are they coming from higher dimensions, or are they also third dimension?
Well, I'm going to say they're all fifth dimensional or higher.
If they're able to if they're able to go through dimensions like that, to go from the fifth into the third, that means that we would be able to, once the event happens, come back into the third and help those who got left behind.
We can, but we have to lower our vibration in order to do it. So I'm not going to be jumping on that bandwagon real quick until I pretty well have that 5D segmented in.
Well, what if you brought that 5D energy with you? Would that be possible?
Well, I mean, it's possible because we're in communication with fifth dimensional beings. The Palladians are mostly a fifth dimensional race, and yeah, so we're being contacted by them. So yeah, it's possible, but they say that it's difficult. You know, that it's uncomfortable to be in this dense energy.
Yeah, well, they're right. So if this energy, if this event covers multiple dimensions, I wonder what happens to people like in the fifth. Do they get an instant upgrade as well?
Well, I mean, this is the whole thing. Yeah, I think they do. They'll get some kind of a boost. Maybe
Otherwise, it'd be like, where the hell did all these people come from? Here we are in our own little 5D, and all of a sudden we got all these earthlings that just popped out of nowhere.
No, this is why I think we're aware of the 3D. We'll be aware of the 3D because, you know, they're aware of us now. So why wouldn't we?
See, I would love to be a
My-
galactic ambassador that
I live.
and just travel and go to different star nations and say, hey, this is what we used to do on Earth. And I learn about their planets as well while I'm there.
I live on the reservation in New Mexico on El Morro National Monument. And I live like on the back side of it on a mesa. And so I'm surrounded by Zuni Pueblos and Acoma Pueblos. The Navajo were brought here from Canada, but the original people were the Anasazi. And they were here 1,000 years ago or so. And when you go to this monument and when you hike this cliff that I live on, there's caves that are not national monuments that people don't go to, that me and my friends hike to. And there's a lot of the stuff indicating that they saw star people. And so when I'm here, I think I told you last night, I was kind of studying my prior Christianity and trying to open up. And I had a bonfire on an Easter. And I threw an ounce of marijuana, I'm a legal marijuana patient, into the fire for offering. And so my friend who was with me can talk to other entities. And she called one in, and she's like, you know, she told me to warm my heart, because if you have bad vibes, they don't want to come near you. And I don't know who they were, but my trees are about 40, 50 feet tall, usually about, and they were right above. And if you've ever seen those old Christian paintings with where it has like a dude like in a starcraft on one side, and then somebody chasing them in another starcraft on the top, and it has like the crucifixion of Jesus in the middle. It was that. Whoever those people were went over, and that's like out here, they're all over in these old lands. They come, they show themselves. I don't know what dimension, I don't have the ability to talk to them or to communicate yet. I don't know if I ever will. I don't know. But
that's cool. That's really cool.
They're really cool. Yeah, they come, they exist.
They're everywhere. They're all over the skies right now. I got John with his hand up right now. John.
Hey, thanks, Gary. A little last couple of days been really trying. I'm feeling really exhausted now, but I wanted to go back to what you were saying about did the event already happen on an alternate timeline, and likewise on an alternate timeline, you know, does the cabal have complete control? You know, and this is something that I was kind of attracted to as far as answering this question. And this is just like opinion based. I don't have any facts or anything to back this up. But I would think, like, if we are creators of multiple timelines, like you said, when we make decisions about what color shirt to wear and stuff like that, we chose, you know, I'm wearing a gray shirt right now. And so I'm focused on the timeline where I'm wearing a gray shirt right now. Okay. What happens during a global awakening when the majority of the people as co-creators decide that we're going to lean towards a timeline where the great awakening has already happened, you know? And it makes me wonder, you know, have you ever had those days where you I got an echo in there, it's messing with my head. Have you ever had one of those days where you just you know you're a manifester, but you're just off, you know, not quite hitting it, right? What if the great event that is happening on an alternate timeline, when the global focus shifts towards that great awakening that we're all looking for, what if that is the big shift, right? Well, through all these multiple fractals of possible realities, we
Great awakening.
we shift our focus, and as we shift our focus, we bring with us all of us who are like-minded, so to speak. You see,
Similar vibrations.
like shining a flashlight, right? Like if we're just one small little pixel of that flashlight, the flashlight just moves, the shift of focus goes more towards that greater awakening. And because the flashlight moves, everybody else shifts back into that direction where we start tipping the balance into that. That's where all the energy is going to be at. That's where all the focus is going to be at. And what it's going to do is, this is what I'm picturing in my mind is, you know, as above, so below. You know, on one hand, the cabal has complete control. On the other hand, the great awakening, the global consciousness has control. And we're all kind of existing somewhere in the center right now, you know. And so the flashlight just kind of moves over to the global awakening side. Everything else shifts over, and then the power of manifestation and law of attraction and stuff like that just starts exploding all over the place on those timelines, right? Which makes the timeline for the cabal a little bit weaker. The power that they have is less. I don't know.
I get it. That's a good preponderance. Yeah. What if? Well, you know, that's what we do here. We put things out there, let people weigh them out and create the possibility, if nothing else, that maybe that's what's happening. I've got another guy here. Gary Michael's got his hand up too. Gary, you're unmuted right now. Gary Michael.
Say that I
we
agree
go.
with everything he was saying. I think that the group conscious, we're raising the conscious, but also our consciousness is being raised by Gaia. I mean, it's inevitable. Gaia is an entity, and Gaia is going to transmute and transcend. We're all ascending together. That's what this is. The great consciousness that is in all of us is going to raise into the 5D. That's what we're doing.
So you don't think that there will be anyone that will get left behind?
Yeah, there will be people there's so many people that are blind. There's definitely going to be people that are going to get left behind. And I, like Phil was saying, that we're going to have to reach a point where, yes, we can go back and try to teach and help them get to this place. We're going to have to come back. There's going to be there are going to be leaders and guides and teachers that are going to have the ability to go back to the 3D, just like light beings do now. I mean, we have guides, we have, you know, I mean, we've got angels and archangels and our higher self, and we've got guides, we've got our ancestors, we've got all of these entities around us that are always trying to help us out. If we were in the 5D, we would be doing the same thing.
That was my other thing also is, you know, what if we are the UFOs? What if we are, you know, a portion of ourselves are existing on a higher frequency timeline, and we're coming back to the other side, to our three-dimensional selves, because I do believe we exist in all dimensions at all time. You know, what if that's us, you know? And then who would you, if you had that ability to exist in the 5D and then come back to the 3D and help somebody out, who would you decide to help out first? Well, personally, maybe I sound selfish.
Yourself.
Why wouldn't I want to help myself, you know?
Yeah.
So if I ever see a UFO, I'm gonna listen, you know.
Well, yeah, that's possible too. Is, and just throwing it out there, because time doesn't exist, it is possible that we could send aspects of ourselves or even ourselves back in time. Here, maybe those like people are saying, maybe those UFOs are us.
Yeah, that reminds
yeah,
me
I'm gonna hop on that one because I've sent back to my younger self to help it out, uh, which would be in a lower 3D uh, timeline state, and raise it up. And I do the same with Metatron's key. I've gone back and done that all throughout my line, my genetic line. So it absolutely is going to be possible, and we're going to be doing it because I'm doing it already.
I've got some more people that have been coming in here, which is wonderful. I've been throwing the URL out on YouTube, and I don't know. Scotty, we'll try you again. You there, Scotty? Scotty boy.
I'm here.
Okay.
Why don't you really come on the on?
What was that?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
What? I bounced out of there. I didn't even think. Goddamn, people are watching me. I bounced out of there. I closed that thing off. I was typing and doing my own thing. How the hell am I still locked into this, scene? Can you see me?
No.
Oh, thank God. I got to put my pants back on.
Oh, Lord.
I'm kidding. Hey, nice to meet everybody.
Well, glad you can make it on here finally. Seeing you
Yeah,
chatting away.
Yeah. Well, that's it. I'm out. Good night, everybody.
All right, take care.
Good night, Scott.
I'm not going no place. I got nothing to say, but I'm here. I'm all ears. I'm listening.
You got
Okay.
something to say, man.
And I see Sarah is here joining us down there. I see her trying to unmute her, but she's probably just either shy or clicking the unmute all button. And if anyone new and anyone else is new that wants to join in, just say hi. You're more than welcome to. Okay.
Hello.
It's tough because a lot of people are introverted, myself included. So I get it.
Speaking of being introverted,
outside of the court here, I think.
John, speaking of being introverted, I had an experience last Sunday where I was I went to this it's called a metaphysical holistic fair that they do about once a month, and basically it's a lot of people who think just like us, and they get together, and it's a great platform, I guess, where they can sell their products and stuff like that. But they also do free lectures. Lectures are only about 45 minutes long. It's not a lot of time to present a lot of information, but it gives gives the vendors a great opportunity to explain the spirit work that they do, and various different services that they offer or whatever. And what I found out is that when I'm there, when I go to these places, I have these really very powerful experiences. And what I've learned is, you know what I really like is I like listening to you, Greg. You have a really great platform, very open-minded, just listening to everybody else's experiences, because we all do live on, our own filters and lenses, and we try to understand life the best way that we can understand it. Nobody's being judged on this channel. This is what I really like. But what I found out is that when I go to these places, I get really introverted. And what I do is when they start talking, I give like nods of confirmation, where I probably should be speaking out and saying, hey, yes, I totally agree with you. And and I could add to that and something like that. But instead, I'm introverted, so I'm just not that nod of confirmation. And what I'm learning is being in the physical presence of other like-minded individuals it's like a snowball effect. It creates a lot of energy. Have you ever had, like, for me, when I do meditation, it's a sleep state, basically, right? Close my mind, feel the wind, feel the sun, stuff like that, depending on whatever situation I'm in. But but when I'm in these groups, listening to their lectures and stuff, what I found out is that the power is like tenfold. It's I could if I was weak-minded, then what would happen is it would completely overwhelm me. Being mindful, listening, believing, feeling everything that people are saying, knowing that everybody else is in the same mindset, can lead to a very powerful experience, and the power is in I'm gonna say circumstance, synchronicity, stuff like that. And so, just to finish up real quick, and then what I want to say is that if anybody else has that opportunity to be in the physical presence of a group of people who are like-minded, in the physical presence, mind you, I would say, just go for it, jump on it, don't be afraid, don't be introverted. You don't have to say anything, just give your nod of confirmation and see what happens.
Well, if nothing else, at least, through this forum, you've realized that you do have a voice and you can be heard. Just like the next time you go there, I think because of this forum, you'll have more confidence to speak up and say something the next time.
Next time I go there, I'm gonna be like, hey, y'all need to check out Greg Prescott on YouTube.
No, you need to check out N5D and
yeah.
everybody that comes here and hangs out with us. That's what
so if you got something you want to say and you don't understand what you're trying to say, but you just want to say it, go check out n5d.com.
Yeah.
And see what happens there too, because exactly. You never know what's going to happen.
That's good. That works.
We'll do that. Definitely, Greg.
Yeah. That would be cool. I'm for that. I don't like this. Obviously, I don't like being the center of attention. I don't like, this being about me. It's about all of us. And everyone's got an amazing voice, amazing stories to tell. So that's why I encourage everybody that's watching right now. We got a bunch of people in YouTube. Join us. You can do it.
I do want to add, though, that I truly appreciate this platform. I mean, I would have stayed behind the camera, but I mean, you stay in front of the camera the whole time, and that encourages me to not hide behind a black screen. I mean, I know I'm doing it right now, but
yeah.
I'm also not.
It's not a choice for me. I just don't have a webcam, so, and I'm not savvy enough to figure it out on the cell phone. My cell phone is so basic. It's so I don't know. I don't want to clog it up. It barely receives text messages as it is. So I'm on a desktop right now. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but
that's okay.
No, I'm not trying to. I don't want to interrupt either. I just appreciate the platform, and I wanted to say that I really appreciate that everybody will come in here and share. Well, not everybody, but everybody that does come in and share. I just want to say that there is much love here for everyone. Like, I'm sending out good vibes. I'm sending out love and light and healing energy to everybody that is on YouTube, that's in the Zoom, and anybody that happens to listen to this afterwards. It's all good. It's all love. This is all love here, people. So if you're feeling like scared, or if something, if like we're talking about something, you're like, holy crap, what are these guys talking about? Seriously, this is what they talk about? And you're not understanding things, just stick around and listen, because we're not fear mongering. We're not the press. We're not the government. We're here spreading love. This is all out of pure love, pure respect for all life and all beings.
Eventually someone's going to say something that's going to resonate with someone else, and they might be just watching at that time on YouTube and following the chat there, but they might say, you know what, I know something about this, and I need to share my story. And you'll break out of your introvertedness. It's not that bad. We don't bite. We're not going to ridicule or make fun of anyone. People need to hear your story, and plus everyone's voice has certain codes. So you have codes that you're going to be sharing with other people as well as if you can put your face up there as well. That's even better because you get certain codes from that as well. But everyone's got amazing stories to tell, and I encourage people to tell them. What you got there, Phil?
This is third eye tincture.
Huh. Hey, Lena.
Hi guys. Hey, guess what? Want to know something cool?
You're having prime rib. The guy
That's
here,
too good. I just got off.
I heard prime rib or something on your microphone when you first signed on. So yeah, I was
just got
guessing.
home and I was like,
So what's
want some
up?
prime rib? Well, so I work at a steakhouse, obviously. And today, one of my customers, this lady was like, "Do you know in 5D? I've seen you a few times on there." And I was like, "Yes! I can't
You're a
believe
celebrity.
my customers at work watch your show."
Yeah, you're famous.
That is so awesome. Like, that's
Yeah.
so awesome that somebody recognized you from watching a YouTube video. I think that's amazing.
Yeah,
It's going to happen with all of
a
you.
bunch of people in the restaurant got put onto it too. I told them about it. I was like, "Well, you need to go on it so you can see."
Yes.
And join us. That's awesome. Yay.
It felt
What a great
so
story.
awesome that someone saw me. Yeah.
I remember when I first started on YouTube and moved to Sarasota back in 2007, 2008, something like that. Anyway, I was going to this local Earth Origins. It's like a holistic store. I'm going through the line there, and I put all my stuff up there, and the cashier is like, "Oh my God, you're Greg Prescott in 5D." I go, "Yeah, I love your website." It was the first time somebody recognized me back in, like, I don't know, 2008, 2009, something like that. But yeah, all you guys, you'll all get recognized at some point. You're
I guess.
celebrities.
And I'm gonna say, Greg, I think I've gone up in subscribers by 4 just because of you.
Cool. That's awesome. I encourage that too. You know, people that are chatting along in the chat room to figure out where each other is on YouTube, and then, you know, maybe Facebook, and try to figure out, you know, through social media. I also encourage people to put where they're from in the chat, as well as below the chat, just so we can create family, not only on the internet, but if there's somebody that, who knows, there might be somebody in your hometown that is in the same boat as you. Like, where are all the awakened people? And you guys might live 2 blocks away. Who knows?
Right.
But we're creating family, and then micro families and macro families, and but that's why we do this.
Okay, yeah, I gotta weigh in here again. I'm sorry, guys. But I'm taking the bus a lot more. And, you know, I'll throw out little tidbits. And I'm finding that surprisingly, a lot of people are aware of a lot of stuff. So we might find that there's going to be a lot more in 5D than we realize.
That's awesome. Yeah, I encourage people to put where they're from. And gosh, I'm seeing a lot of people there's a couple people from England, which is, it's got to be almost 3 o'clock there in the morning.
That's awesome.
And here they are tuned in. That's awesome.
I just
So
wanted
I'll
to
just
say,
add that. Go ahead.
I was just going to say real quick about recognizing people. I've never been recognized in my own town, but I've been on videos before, you know, co-hosting or, you know, interviewing or something like that, and had people message me and say, I know you. And as it turns out, we are soul family, and we've had past lives together. So that's pretty cool too. That's another plus for showing your face.
Mm-hmm. I've seen people, you know, at meetups and conferences that I've had, just get like really nervous when they're around me, and yeah, in a good way, a positive nervousness where they're like, I can't believe I'm meeting you. And like, what I tell them is, in Lakesh Alakin, I'm another you. It's like chill out, I'm no different than you and everybody else that's on here, chatting with me. So just chill out, relax. We're all the same. I'm another you. In Lakesh Alakin.
I was really scared to come on, but I'm glad I did. This is my year of manifestation. I've been sitting in the woods for 3 years with all these great events going on with like-minded people. I'm surrounded by them in this community and been too scared. And tomorrow I might actually be going to a party with drums and everything. Family Haven, they do all that off-grid permaculture stuff. It's pretty cool. And
That's awesome.
I stepped in here because I was like, I wanted to try to talk to people, not just watch people's videos. I don't have a YouTube channel really. I'm not trying to do any of that. I just participate.
That's all we ask for. Just join us. Tell us your stories.
Yeah.
So we got some another new person down here. Andy Monks is joining us. If you want to pop in and say hi, you're more than welcome to.
Hello.
Hi, Andy.
Hi.
Thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having an open forum. This is amazing. I just started noticing your videos maybe like a month ago,
Mm-hmm.
and it's an amazing vibration that you're sharing. And I had a few things that I thought might interest others that have been so profound for me lately. And basically 4 subjects. It was interesting to hear permaculture there. I'm a certified permaculturalist, and that is an amazing category. But another one is diplomacy. And recently I've learned how to navigate the law in an incredible way. And so that's another area if anybody was interested to talk about. And then also I certified with a man named Dr. Morse. He's a world-renowned naturopathic healer. And he focuses on medicinal herbs and fruit to detox the body. And I was fortunate and blessed to certify with him in Florida this year. And so between fruit detox and the profound science of diplomacy and permaculture, those areas are very, very liberating. All of those areas can really have a profound effect in transforming your experience.
Now, I heard that pomegranate is really good for you, but what kind of fruit do you find is best for detoxing?
So I go towards berries, grapes and berries.
I'm going to say that. Blueberries?
I'm sorry?
Blueberries?
Blueberries and beyond. I like to go all the way into the super berries. So I have clients right now that are very, very chronic. One of the clients I'm working with, she's stage 4 lung cancer. And I have her on super berry smoothies. And so we're using aronia berries, lingonberries, bilberries, Saskatoon berries, elderberries. All of these, like the more potent the berry, the stronger the detox and the stronger the regeneration of your body. And
Are those all berries that you grow yourself, or do you have to buy them?
I buy them, and I buy them from a company that's in Oregon, and most of their berries are picked wild at the peak of ripeness and then flash froze the same day. And then they ship them to you packed on dry ice. Perfect from the freezer. You just throw it right in and make super berry smoothies. And if you just live on super berry smoothies for a period of time, it is so profoundly transformational. Your body, I'm telling you, it's like it'll take you to new levels of bliss and enjoyment that you cannot even hardly imagine.
So you're talking my language here, because I just bought a juicer, right? And I'm doing the medical medium's recommendation of the 16 ounces of celery juice every morning, and then I'll do different juices also as well. But honestly, if I could do one thing and just one thing only, it would just be, I would be a fruitarian. I love fruit. I'm not crazy about vegetables, but fruit, yeah. Oh, heck yeah. So you're speaking my language. How do you get the protein though out of the fruit?
So with protein, there's a bit of a myth there. The human body does not need protein. It actually requires amino acids. So mono amino acids are superior source for the reconstruction of protein in the body, because any foreign protein in the body is an antigen and it will invoke an immune response. Foreign proteins are not helpful. The body has to break those down and get down to the base of mono amino acids in order to reconstruct. So you might as well cut to the chase and go straight to the mono aminos. That's all in the fruit.
Is there more of those mono aminos in specific fruit than there is others? I'd imagine these super fruits that you're talking about would be those.
Yes,
those kinds.
yes, you got it. You got it. Not only a wider spectrum of monoaminos, but also monoamines. But then also the other really profound aspect to the berries is that they're higher in mineral electrolytes. And the minerals, when you burn the fruit fire, just imagine when you burn any fire, you're going to have an ash left over. Now, when you burn any food in the body, you're going to have an acid ash or you're going to have a bicarbonate alkaline ash. Now, that mineral ash is colloidal and it gets drawn off into the lymph system. So you're either drawing acids into the lymph system, which goes through the lymph nodes and heads for the kidneys, or you're drawing bicarbonate minerals through. Now, when the bicarbonate minerals hit the kidneys, it's going to either heat them up and inflame them and cause kidney failure, or it's going to cool them off and regenerate them and regenerate the adrenals. So it's the mineral ash that's so profoundly transformational, because that's the fundamental base elemental chemical composition that it has the ability to transform your chemical composition, is what I'm saying, because it's the heavy, dense elemental minerals that you're not just talking about an ionic charge, you're talking about a chemical core charge, if you know what I'm saying. It actually is changing your pH. So the berries have the widest spectrum of mineral electrolyte salts. And it's a bicarbonate mineral salt complex. And you're talking about magnesium, manganese, zinc, selenium, calcium, potassium, sodium, all of them in colloidal bicarbonate form. And so it's an antacid to the lymph system. Therefore, it's an anti-inflammatory. So we can take somebody that's completely inflamed and with just racked symptomology and just cool them right off, baby. Detox them out and get them happy again. And it's a beautiful process. I run 100% fruit most of the time, as much as possible. And man alive, it is like a rocket ship for the human body. I mean, I would say jump on that ride, everybody. If you can muster it, don't hold back. Don't wait. Jump on it, because it'll just get you right on every level.
So from your perspective, okay, I'm digging this, because like I said, I would be a fruitarian. I could definitely buy this. From your perspective, though, would you consider tomatoes and cucumbers, because they have seeds, fruit?
Tomatoes and cucumbers are golden. Go for it. Heck yeah, those are just righteous. Oh yeah, absolutely. And those are good ones to do, like tender leafy green salads. So I'll do squash, zucchini, avocado, tomato, cucumber. Those are all fruits. So now you're having mostly a fruity salad, and then go ahead and throw the super berries on that salad too. That's a great way to break up the monotony of the fruitarian lifestyle. But because if you go on fruit for a period of time, it is so energetic that you almost can't bear it, especially if you're on the super fruits. And so if you have any resistance in you, whether it's in your mind or your body or in your relationships, that resistance is going to get put to the test, because you're just pumping. It's like rocket fuel for the human body. And so it just literally blows all the resistance right out of you. And that can be a little bit uncomfortable. So people will go for fruit for a while, but the detox is intense. It gets real, But you just keep going back, and you go do it again, and you go do it again, and you go do it again, and you get better at it and better at it and better at it. And you just go higher and higher and higher. See, what people don't realize is the acids, proteins are acids, right? And the sun is an acid. So just think about it. The sun is hot, dense, and heavy. And that's exactly what protein is. It's hot, dense, and heavy. So when you think of monoamino acids, Protein is just a complex chain of amino acids. That's like saying a complex chain of suns. So you're eating heavy, dense, hot acid suns and a whole lot of them. And you're going to need the electrolytes to counterbalance that chemistry. Now, the planets are the electrolytes. So if you're building a solar system, how many suns do you need and how many electrolyte planets do you want? And that's really what it comes down to. That's what I mean by the core elemental chemistry. And so if you're full of heavy, dense, hot suns, it looks like arthritis, osteoporosis, tumors, cancer, inflammation, edema, cholesterol, plaquing. Pretty much every disease there is under the sun is your body's best attempt to rebuff excess protein in the body that's burning you up. You're just literally burned up. The kidneys are inflamed, the kidneys are failed, the adrenals are failed, everything's burnt up and failed. And so you just dump the fruit in there and it's like a fire extinguisher. Puts the fire out and just, boy, it just brings you back to life, baby. It's a beautiful thing.
You're pumping me up for this. This is what I like this is like one of my snacks that I have, dark chocolate bananas. If I'm going to have anything, because I don't know. What I try to do though is I try to buy, like if I'm going to have chocolate, it's going to be as high of the cacao as I can. I'm sorry. But yeah. And I did buy some cacao that I could put into, would you recommend doing that just to change things around? Just to give it something a little different, or would you stay away from cacao?
Well, the only thing with cacao is you're getting into the caffeine, right? So it's got caffeine, correct?
I don't know.
Honestly.
Yeah, I do it for the dark chocolate benefits.
Essentially, basically, you're looking at, I believe there's basically neurotoxin involvement there.
Oh, wow.
And so, because you got the excitotoxins. And so, yeah, small crime, especially when you're on fruit, because you're so regenerated, your body's so hyper regenerated that it can handle it easy, But what you'll notice.
Dairy? What about dairy?
No, number one offender. If it's raw, okay, fine, not fine.
What about A2 milk instead of regular milk?
No, if you look, and there's a lot of reasons why I would say no, but I'll give you some real good ones right off the bat. Number one, we don't even have the correct enzymes to break down milk after about 1 year old. And there's for good reason, because you look around in nature, no animal attempts to just stay on milk for any period of time. It's merely to wean you off onto a natural diet. And so that's the number one thing. But number two, you're loading your body up with foreign proteins regardless. And I don't care. The foreign proteins could be plant sourced. I don't care. It's still not necessary. You can have the proteins here and there. That's fine. But understand, it is a hot, dense, heavy chemistry that has to be countervailed by a bicarbonate alkaline chemistry. Otherwise, you will go out of balance, and there is nothing you're going to do about it. You can think all the happy thoughts you want. You're not going to be happy. You're going to be one pissed off hombre. If you give any animal any excess amount of meat, they become very angry and pissed off. It doesn't matter if it's a gorilla, an elephant, even the cats. They love meat, but give them too much meat, and man, if they're drinking a lot of blood and meat, they're ornery too. So it's just not necessary, And now when you get into the pasteurized milks, now it's just like a bomb in the body. It is one of the worst things you could ever fathom putting in the human body.
I have a question for Andy.
Yes, sir.
Andy, so there's all this talk about this coronavirus that's going around right now, right? Okay, this is the way I see it. And bear with me for a second here. This is the way I see it. When we watch the mass media, and I haven't looked into the coronavirus at all, I just don't even want to know. But the way I see it is the way they're reporting it is the mass illness. The way I see it, it's a mass deficiency. With all your knowledge of amino acids and solar energies and stuff like that, how would you categorize it? Is it an illness, or is it a mass deficiency of proteins and stuff like that?
Oh man, that's a really good question. So when it comes to viruses are proteins, right? And can you kill a protein? No. Try to kill a sun. What are you going to do? Throw another sun at it? It's just going to become a super sun. You
call that a vaccine, actually.
Well, and so basically proteins aren't, that's why proteins are viruses and they're kind of not really alive. It's more like they're vibrating. It's all about, here's the thing, it's all about tone. These heavy, dense chemistries have a vibration in your body, and it's a foreign vibration until your DNA reorganizes it. So you don't want those foreign antigens floating around in your body. They just have a tone and tenor that's just unreal until it parries off with the bicarbonate chemistry. So everything has to come into a balance. And so when it comes to these viruses, what you want to do, you just want to detox your body, because proteins are feeding on proteins. That's what viruses, any viral load, whether it be bacterial, fungal, viral, they're all basically feeding on excess protein. It can be excess sugar, but that's another conversation. We can get into that if you want. It is part sugar, but the proteins, the putrefaction of protein is an enormously dangerous situation for the body. And it's easy to avoid. All you do is eat fruit and fast. Because the thing about it, fruit is such a light chemistry that what it does is it allows that heavy, dense, hot chemistry to start to work its way out of your system, or at the very least be neutralized and balanced by the bicarbonates. The ideal thing is to balance the chemistry so that it can either be removed safely from the body, or the body will make good use of those proteins. See, the proteins can be made use of, but they've got to have the bicarbonates to go with it.
What about veggies?
So what I'm getting at, Andy, is just to follow up real quick on what Andy was saying, is what I'm getting at is since we're speaking about alternative realities, like if I was to listen to the news would tell me to beware, be cautious of basically of Chinese people, because you don't want them to cough on you, so to speak, right? The other alternative reality that I could live in is that it's not that I have to be scared of the Chinese people coughing on me. I think really what I need to be scared about is how am I treating my own body? How am I feeding my body? What am I putting into my body? And the difference is how do we figure this out, right? How do we escape from the control of the negative energies and shift into the positive? How do we say that like for me, I'm very positive on this. I know that I feed my body very well for the most part, in terms of, proteins, and I couldn't be more scientific than you are, Andy. Don't get me wrong. You're blowing me away. I totally get you, man. What am I trying to say? That as far as alternative realities, what's your perspective on, is this an illness or is this a deficiency? Is this something that we should believe to fear, or is this something that we can believe to be more positive about?
So that's a great way to rephrase your question, and I think I understand a little more. So when it comes to what should you be afraid of, what you should be afraid of is your inner terrain. How dirty are you interstitially? I'm speaking of the fluids between your cells. Your cells are in an ocean of fluid called interstitial fluid. That's you're like a petri dish. Your skin is the outside of the petri dish, and the fluid inside is the interstitial fluid. Now, if that interstitial fluid is filthy, you're at risk. Yeah, don't let anybody breathe on you. You just go live in a bubble. So, but then the reason that the interstitial fluid gets so dirty is because essentially the kidneys fail. When your kidneys fail, it's like your toilet stopped flushing. You're peeing without peeing. And so you're peeing water. The sewage is getting stuck. It backs up in the lymph system until it backs up all the way into the interstitial fluid. Once the interstitial fluid starts getting full of the sewage from the cells, basically the cells are living in their own piss and you know what? Piss and poo. You got 100 trillion cells excreting all the time, and it's got to go out, right? It's going to go out through the skin or through the urine primarily. And so when your kidneys fail, you become very filthy on the inside, and then you become susceptible to viral load. So, and the reason the kidneys failed is because they get inflamed by the acidosis. The acids burn and scar and inflame the kidneys, and then all hell breaks loose. Once you go into kidney failure, it's all over. Now, if I fill you head to toe full of sewage around all your cells, it's going to erode you at your weaknesses. Everybody has genetic weaknesses, and you'll break at your weak link. So some people, their body will give up bone matrix as an antacid to rebuff the now onsetting chronic systemic acidosis, i.e. sewage all around your cells. So your body just starts giving up calcium from the connective tissue, from the bone, and that's your osteoporosis and arthritis.
Andy, you're all over what I just asked you. And you're using a lot of scientific terms, and I really appreciate the scientific terms, but I'm asking you to use something more in an answer that's a little bit more astral, a little more along the lines of like alternative realities. Like let's say, for example, let's say I fear.
Hey, real quick, I want to grab that, but I want to address. He mentioned what about veggies just a second ago. Before we go that way, just because I can make a real quick answer on the veggies. Veggies are great. They've got a bicarbonate ash, and that's awesome. So they are alkaline. The problem is they're glucose, and glucose trips insulin. And it's a little bit more complex. Even though it's a mono sugar, it's not the superior fructose. Fructose is the only sugar that'll pass through the cell wall without tripping insulin. So it feeds the cells directly. Doesn't invoke an adrenal and a hormonal response. So
don't you want alkaline though? Isn't alkaline
they're
a
both
goal?
alkaline. They're both alkaline. It's just that
Right.
it has the superior sugar. Glucose is a more complex sugar. And once you start tripping insulin, you go on a sugar roller coaster. You're on the sugar crash boom, the sugar crash cycle, because you're on a hormonal response, which taps the adrenals and taps the pancreas. So why go there? Why go to that more complex veggie chemistry when you can stay with the mono? See, think about fruit. Fruit, mono sugar, mono aminos, mono amines, mono fats, it's mono everything. The chemistry is all mono. That's why it digests so quickly in our system, and it's got everything you need. It's got more than everything else. It's got more minerals, it's got more water, 90 to 95% hydrated water content with all the electrolyte minerals to go with it. You've got superior fats. Bear in mind, people say, well, what about fat? But every living cell is fat. The very membrane of a living cell is HDL fat. So you're getting plenty of fats from the fruit. You're getting hydrated. You're getting electrified. We can talk to, you want to go to the higher dimensions? The most electromagnetic food on earth is fruit. If you do Kirlian photography, if you look at fruit in Kirlian photography, vegetables will come in, like if you take a peach versus the same weight in broccoli, the broccoli will have about 8,000 angstroms of electromagnetic energy, whereas the peach will have more like 12 to 14,000 angstroms. The peach takes 2 to 4,000 angstroms to digest, so you're only getting 4,000 angstroms of electric energy, whereas the peach takes 500 angstroms to digest, you're getting 12,000 angstroms of energy. And the broccoli takes 4 hours to digest, and the peach takes 10 minutes to digest. You see what I'm saying?
I'm digging this.
So you
This
just
is
get
awesome.
absolutely electrified, guys. And bear in mind, yes, we are light beings, but we're on an electric planet as electric beings. Now we are to be electrified. And when you eat fruit, it literally electrifies you. And that's what I'm saying. You feel fantastic. You'll come alive like you never imagined. And another thing is so amazing is when you get acidosis in the kidneys, anxiety, paranoia. If you get anxiety in the liver, or if you get acidosis in the liver, anger. Acidosis in the thyroid, sadness, depression, shyness, lack of confidence. That's hypothyroid. It's just acidosis in the thyroid. Different tissues collect different acids, and the different acids, i.e. suns, have a different vibrational tone. And so that's why you have anger pooling and collecting in the liver, and you have anxiety in the kidneys, and sadness and depression in the thyroid, and you have sorrow in the lungs. When your lungs start to fail, sorrow.
Okay.
So
one last question, Andy, if you don't mind. What are your thoughts on intentions when let's say I peel open a banana and I say, I hate you, banana, but I'm going to eat you anyway, versus when I peel open a banana and I say, I love you, banana, and I'm going to consume you. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I would do that for sure. Use the positive energy because the DNA is where it's all happening, and you're really speaking to the DNA of the banana, which is essentially an antenna, and it's a hyperdimensional antenna, send receive antenna. So absolutely, and that's the other thing about fruit. It's the most basically alive food on earth in a certain sense. Oh, one other thing, let's just touch on veggies real quick. When you're eating veggies, you're basically usually eating the plant itself. And typically the plant doesn't want to be eaten. Now, it would rather give you the fruit and let you eat the fruit because the fruit's a gift. It wants you to eat the fruit and then spread its seed. So when you're eating fruit also, you're basically eating the best karma food on earth. I mean, you don't get better karma than that. The fruit's it's trying to give you a gift, you know, and you're eating the gift. And it actually turns out that what the plant was giving you was about the best thing you could possibly put in the human body. So the plant figured out that this is really basically what you want. Really easy to digest chemistry that's supercharged with energy and hydration, and that in no way offends your system because it's not a foreign protein. In other words, it's not a piece of meat. I'm going to give you a gift that's not meat. You know, don't eat meat, eat the gift, you know, kind of thing. So even as good as veggies are, they still miss the mark in so many ways when it compares to fruit. I mean, they are not comparable. Everybody tries to say eat your fruits and veggies as if they're somehow comparable. They are not. When you go 100% on fruit, you are in another caliber and class. And I can give you really scientific examples of how profound that is.
Andy, can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I've been on this diet for a long time. I was a vet. I had all these handful of crap pills that were killing my kidneys and livers. I moved out here and I started eating. I can't get fresh fruits a lot, but I eat this green superfood stuff that has it's just algae and acai berry and all kinds of stuff. How does this compare, do you think, to fresh fruit?
Okay, great question. If that's the best you've got, go for it. But I can tell you, you can do a whole hell of a lot better, and I can show you that it's not as hard as you might think. In fact, I can show you ways to eat better than you can possibly imagine, and it's way more convenient and easy than anything you've ever done. So I can show you that there's an illusion there too. The problem with what you've got there is it's mixing berries and vegetables, or fruits and vegetables together, and the two sugars have entirely different metabolic pathways. The body uses one pathway to digest glucose and another pathway to digest fructose. And when you mix the two, you're just creating complex chemistry. They do occur naturally together. So it's not that the body can't handle it, it totally can. But again, why would you want to invoke a hormonal response? Because if your kidneys are down, by definition, your adrenals are down too, brother, almost for sure. And because they're just right there on top of them, you know, the adrenals sit right on the kidneys for good reason. I could explain that to you at some point if you guys would like. I can explain exactly how the adrenals and the function of the kidneys, how the kidneys are cleaning the fat and all that if everybody's interested. But
well, what I plan on doing, I actually sent you a friend request, and because it is kind of like off topic from the parallel universe and alternate realities, but I sent you a friend request, and I'd like to, you know, carry this on honestly, in just a one-on-one kind of thing.
Cool. Maybe. That's fantastic. Absolutely.
Yeah. So check out Facebook, and I'm just gonna lay one last question on before we go back to the original topic, because this is really fascinating. What about GMOs? You know, a lot of people can't afford organic. What's the detriments of eating GMOs?
Yeah, on GMO. So here's what we have to bear in mind, guys, and this is the same. This touches on that virus, the coronavirus issue as well. What you're talking about is foreign antigens. When you get into these GMOs, the issue is that, remember I was saying with the acids, it's the heavy, dense, hot acid chemistry. And when you get these crazy concoctions that they have created, the tonality of it, there's a vibration of the food that's extremely foreign. It's already bad enough that it was foreign chemistry, but they're taking it to these levels, especially like the viruses. Those are weaponized proteins, you know, which is like, imagine clumping together a bunch of suns. They're going to vibrate a certain way, you know, like a constellation of stars. And that's what it is. You're eating a constellation of stars that was engineered to have a terrible tonality. And it's just an impossible scenario. And now when you go back to the berries, I want to show you one thing about the berries. You're raining down in your body a mineral bicarbonate ash spectrum array that is like a full octave spectrum of tones. So that's why I like the berries the most, because it has the broadest spectrum of minerals. You see what I'm saying? So that it can parry all this crazy foreign chemical warfare that we're under. So by getting a broad spectrum of colloidal minerals, you see how you're giving your body the tools to countervail the vibrational tone. So now it can parry all that foreign chemistry and bring it back into a harmonic resonance with your DNA. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah, it does. The problem though is financially, a lot of people aren't in a position to buy strictly organic.
Well, you'd be surprised. I've got some tricks for that. Maybe we should do a special show.
Yeah.
How to
The
shop.
farmer's market. Do you have a
Market?
farmer's market around you?
I do, but they sell a lot of GMO stuff.
Yeah, mine too. I have to look organic or GMO.
Mm-hmm.
So what I like to do, Greg, I'll just cut to the chase. When I ship in the berries, so my freezer's full. I got $600 worth of super berries in my freezer. And that can't be any easier, guys. You've got fruit in the freezer. It's already cleaned and prepped. You just dump it in your Vitamix or your blender, blend up a super berry smoothie, and it's the strongest food source you could put in your body for cleansing, detoxing, energizing, reinvigorating. Remember, when you back the acidosis off, the anger goes away, the anxiety goes away, the shyness, the depression, the sadness, it all just lifts. It'll lift right off you and you'll be like, oh my gosh, I've never felt better. And you've got a food source that's frozen in your freezer and it's just sitting there waiting for you. And then you just rinse the blender so you don't even have dishes. So you can whip out a superfood meal in 3 minutes, no dish time. And you don't have food spoiling on you, fruit that going bad on the countertop or anything like that. And then that becomes your home base. So when you have a whole array of super berries, and I like to use medicinal herbs too, but I don't want to drift too far. I'll just cut it to the chase here. That's your home base. So then you can drift out and go to the restaurants with your friends, do whatever you do, have your little cheats, have fun, do whatever you do, but you know how to come home again. That's the thing. Fruit is home base for our species. We are fruit eaters. We are super primates. We're not only primate fruit eaters, we're like the top fruit eater on planet Earth, in my opinion. We're like the king of the jungle. We should be eating the best fruits of the earth. That's our position. That's our rightful role. Because remember, we're the most electric being. Our brain is the biggest brain pound for pound on its platform. So we need electrified more than any creature on earth. So you need to eat the most electric food to really electrify your nervous system so that you're just responsive, you'll just come alive. It's amazing. So by jumping on these super berries, that's why I say just that way you got like a super weapon in your fridge. You know what I mean? It's like your super weapon. So you're just whipping out, you're just having a super berry. If you just have a super berry smoothie for breakfast every single day, and that's all you have, and then you just don't change anything else, you will already be on a rocket ship heading right out. You want to go to the next dimensions? That's a good start.
All right. Well, make sure go to Facebook, accept my friend request, and we'll get you on here and do a one-on-one, and then we'll bring on everybody that can ask questions as well afterwards. So that's really cool. I'm glad you made it on here, and it's going to be really cool to get your insight on a lot of this stuff in a separate one-on-one show.
Awesome.
I appreciate it. But for now, we've been going for probably a good 2.5 hours. I'm going to leave it off at that and wrap it up right here. I just want to thank once again everybody for joining us. I hope that you can check out n5d.net for killer tie-dye shirts, as well as Patreon. Got a really cool show coming up, a private show on Patreon on the first Wednesday of every month for our Patreon subscribers of $5.55 or more. This is going to be on the untouchables, people that are in our genre that you can't talk to like this, so that's going to be kind of fun too. So stay tuned to that. I'm going to make arrangements, like I said, with Andy, and we'll come back on and do a special show hopefully, maybe tomorrow if if you're into it.
That sounds great. I don't see a reason why. I'll let you know if there's a conflict, but otherwise, yeah.
All right, so there you go, guys. So until the next time, I'm sending you all infinite love and light. This is Greg from N5D.com. Namaste, everyone. See you tomorrow. Love you all.
Namaste.
Namaste, everyone.
Namaste, everyone.
Hello.